Hello there, woven web enthusiasts. Today we have a gentleman that just learned his fiance cheated during her bachelorette party, and he is done. He writes in the relationships advice subreddit, "I'm 31 and she's 30, and we were supposed to be getting married in 3 weeks. So I don't know how to explain all this. Basically, I was snooping last night after I saw her phone go off. It was a message from her friends about the party, and I ended up staying up like one of those stalkers you see on TV, and I've been checking their computer and her Facebook messages with her friends and found out she cheated on me during this bachelorette party. And by cheating, I don't mean a strip tease or something. She ended up going home with a guy that night. Now, she had just added this guy on Facebook, but the chat just consisted of, had a good time and it was nice to meet you type of conversation. And it dates back to the bachelorette party. I have, however, read the messages between her and her friends, and they have a small group, and found out what she had done there. Now, it seems like this was a one-time thing, but I don't care. I'm a frickin' mess. I haven't slept all night, and she's going to work in an hour. It's almost 6 o'clock now. I don't know what the hell to do. We're supposed to be getting married in 3 weeks. Honestly, I'm thinking about packing my bags after she goes to work and walking out the door." And in an updated post, OP writes, "I confronted her, and of course she denied it and said it was a big misunderstanding. This was a big fight, and I left, and I'm staying in a hotel." So now, yesterday, my phone was being spammed by her family and friends, and the only person I responded to was her sister. I just sent her a screenshot of where my fiance and her, the sister, talked about all this. And then the sister went silent after that. Later in the day, I responded to my fiance finally, and I had this gut feeling she was going to come up with some sort of excuse. Picked up the phone. I could hear she'd been crying all day, it sounded like. She kept begging me to come back and said there was an explanation to everything and that she loves me. She says I have misunderstood the entire situation, and I could hear her sister and someone else in the background coaching her. Anyway, I told her to explain it to me right then and there. And then she said because I only seen a small part of the conversation, it's all being misunderstood, and that I should come back home and that she loves me, and that I've made a big decision to leave her without any real reason. Now, during this conversation, I was given really short, empty answers in a cold way like, yeah, okay, explain it to me. Finally, I told her to call me back in 10 minutes and to check Messenger. After I hung up, I sent her the entire conversation log with a ton of the screenshots, not all of them, but most of the important ones. It didn't take 2 minutes for her to call back, crying hysterically, saying sorry for everything, saying she wants to die rather than lose me, and how she was forced by her friends and sister to have fun one last time, that she needed to let all the energy out before stepping into a marriage for life. I was just quiet during most of it, and the more I didn't talk and just said okay, the more she was crying. And then she says I can sleep with other women if I want to get back at her. I told her that sleeping with other women was not something I wanted or needed because I met her and I fell in love with her, and she's the only woman I wanted. Finally, I ended the call. So a half an hour later, her dad calls and apologizes for everything. Remember, we were supposed to be getting married in 3 weeks. Her dad goes on to say that he and his wife know what happened, and he's so sorry for all this, understands how I feel, and that he didn't raise his daughter to do this. Then the wife gets on the phone and tells me her daughter made a mistake, she regrets it, and it'll never happen again, and she asks, can we move forward from this? I politely tell her I appreciate it all, and I have to go, and said goodbye. Then after that call, my fiance calls back, and I take the call, and she begs again, saying that she told her parents, and she sent a text message to all our mutual friends about what had happened and what she had done. She then says we can even go to counseling, and she'll pay for it all. After a while, I've told her just to stop crying. It's okay. She's allowed to do these things, and I hope she finds a good guy someday. So she starts crying even harder, and her sister takes the phone and says sorry and tells me everything can be fixed, and she says that I said I would take her back. I told the sister I said I would think about taking her back, and now I'm realizing I dodged a bullet, and I wished her and her sister the best. And finally, she tells me her sister's suicidal now from all this, and that's going to lead into a major depression that she may end up taking her life. I said, well, it's a good thing she's there with you, and you can make sure she doesn't hurt herself, and you should get her to a doctor. And I hung up. I feel like I dodged a bullet. And as for me here at Woven Webs, that cheating bell cannot be unrung. Good job, OP. What do y'all think? Let us know in the comments, and I appreciate you listening.